Two World Cup-winning Springbok teams. Two different eras. Two legendary squads. But which one was stronger player for player? The champions of 2007 or the champions of 2019? Today, we're finding out. Here's how it works. Every head-to-head matchup earns 1 point for a win, and if I can't split the two players, it's half a point each for a draw. I'm also not judging this strictly on how they played in the finals themselves. This is more about matching each player against his opposite number, especially when it comes to the bench selections. And trust me, this one is going to be very close. So stay right to the end and see which Springbok World Cup champions come out on top. First up, we have Durant versus the Beast. We all know what Durant brought to the game, the complete package at prop. Powerful in the scrum, strong around the field, and for many, one of the best loose head props of his era. Beast was also a top-class prop, known for his scrummaging power and incredible upper body strength. But when comparing the two, I'm giving this one to Durant. Now we move to the hookers. John Smit versus Bongi Mbonambi. Smit captained the Springboks to World Cup glory in 2007 and led the side brilliantly. He also had the versatility to cover prop, which added huge value to the team. Bongi, on the other hand, brought serious physicality and became a major weapon through the driving maul. But in a tight call, I'm backing Smit to edge this one. At tight head prop, we've got another really close battle. CJ van der Linde versus Frans Malherbe. CJ probably offered a bit more as a ball carrier, while Malherbe has been the more dominant scrummager. It's a very tight call, but with Frans having won 2 World Cups, I'm giving this one to Malherbe. Moving on to the locks, we start with Bakkies Botha against Eben Etzebeth. This is probably one of the toughest matchups in the whole video. Both were physical, aggressive, and brought plenty of presence to the pack. They also offered more skill with ball in hand than people sometimes give them credit for. Some fans will back Bakkies, others will say Etzebeth is the better player. You could easily call this one a draw, but I'm giving it to Etzebeth, by the smallest of margins. The next lock pairing is a bit more straightforward. Matfield up against De Jager. Matfield was the line-out master and arguably the best line-out jumper in world rugby during his prime. De Jager brought plenty of value as a big, physical lock with strong ball carrying ability, but for me, this one goes to Matfield. Now to the loose forwards. Schalk Burger up against Kolisi. In my opinion, Burger was probably the best open-side flanker the Springboks have ever had. He was incredibly physical, always involved, and the kind of player who never stopped working for the team. Kolisi's captaincy legacy is massive, and he's achieved a huge amount for the Boks. He's also a quality player in his own right. But purely on playing style and impact in that role, I'm giving this one to Burger. Now we've got two massive blindside flankers going head-to-head, Jan Smith versus Pieter-Steph du Toit. Smith was a no-nonsense player, tough, physical, and never someone you wanted to mess with. He was a great tackler and a powerful ball carrier. PSD, as we know, is one of the best defenders in world rugby and the kind of player no opponent wants to face. This is a strong matchup, but my pick here is du Toit. At 8th man, we've got Dani Rosso against Dwayne. Rosso was the ultimate all-round forward who could cover flank, number 8, and lock. He was big, physical, and incredibly tough to bring down. Dwayne may have been slightly smaller, but he matched that physicality and brought huge presence of his own. In my opinion, Dwayne was the stronger defender and offered more leadership as well. Another tough call, but I'm going with Dwayne here. At scrum half, we have du Preez against Fourie du Preez. Du Preez was widely regarded as one of the best scrum halves in the world at his peak, and many even rated him above Van der Westhuizen. We all know what Faf brought to the game, the fearless, in-your-face scrum half with 2 World Cups to his name. But if I have to choose one, I'm going with du Preez. At fly half, we have Butch James against Pollard. Butch James was a very strong defender with solid distribution, and he did his job brilliantly during the 2007 Rugby World Cup. Pollard is more of a tactical kicking fly half, and we all know how calm and reliable he is under pressure. Another tough call, but my head says Pollard. Now to inside centre, and this one might divide opinions. Steyn up against de Allende. It's the cannon boot versus the crash ball specialist. Do you go for distribution and the ability to spread play wide, or do you back the man who attacks the gain line so well? I'm going with Steyn here. His long passing game could bring outside backs into play quickly, and he could slot penalties from 60 meters. Taking nothing away from De Allende, I think has been an outstanding player, but in my opinion, Steyn was the more complete centre. At outside centre, we have Jacques Fourie against Lucanio Arm. Fourie was a brilliant strike runner who hit great angles, found gaps well, and was also a very solid defender. We all saw what Arm did during the 2019 Rugby World Cup. At his best, he was outstanding. Arm is a quality player, but for me he wasn't always as consistent. My pick here is Fourie. Moving on to the outside backs, we start on the left wing, Bryan Habana against Mapimpi. If you didn't watch Habana between 2004 and 2010, you missed something special. Every time he touched the ball, you could sense panic in the opposition. He was explosive off the mark, lightning quick, and one of the most dangerous finishers in world rugby. Mapimpi was outstanding at the 2019 and 2023 Rugby World Cups and has been a top-class winger in his own right. But for me, Habana was simply the more electric and exciting winger, so the point goes to him. On the right wing, we have J.P. Pietersen against Cheslin Kolbe. Pietersen was an outstanding defender out wide, and who can forget that brilliant try-saving tackle in the 2007 World Cup final against England? But with Kolbe, no explanation is really needed. We all know how exciting he is to watch and what he achieved at the 2019 and 2023 World Cups. So this one feels pretty clear. Kolbe gets the nod here. At fullback, we have Percy Montgomery against Leroux. Two very different types of fullbacks, each outstanding in their own way. Montgomery was brilliant, reliable off the tee, excellent with touchline kicks, blessed with great speed and superb vision. Leroux, as I mentioned in the previous video, brought real attacking flair, pinpoint long passing, and the ability to create space for his wingers almost effortlessly. But once again, the 2007 team takes the point here. Now to the reserves, and we start with a tough one at hooker, Bismarck du Plessis against Malcolm Marx. Bismarck was a brutal, hard-nosed hooker, tough to bring down, highly physical, and a real presence at the breakdown. Marx brings many of those same qualities. They're very similar in terms of physicality, but for me, Marx is just a touch better when it comes to stealing possession and making an impact at the breakdown. Marx gets the point here. At reserve loosehead prop, we have Steenkamp against Kitschhoff. Now, I know Steenkamp didn't feature in the 2007 final, but for this video we just want the reserves to match up. Steenkamp was a physical, hard-carrying prop who brought plenty of power, but he wasn't quite as polished technically in the scrum. Kitschhoff, on the other hand, was the stronger scrummager and a more complete prop in that area. Add in the extra World Cup title, and the point goes to Kitschhoff. At reserve tight head prop, we have Yanni du Plessis against Vincent Cog. Du Plessis was a hard, physical prop who was solid in the scrum and always did exactly what was expected of him. The same can be said for Vincent. He's not always the standout name, but he consistently delivers what the team needs. This is a very close call, but I'm giving it to Du Plessis by the smallest of margins. At number 19, the reserve lock, we have Johan Muller against R.G. Snyman. Muller was a very good player at his peak around 2007 and 2008. He captained a highly successful Sharks side and brought a strong work rate to the pack. R.G. Snyman, as we all know, brings size, physicality, superb offloading skills, and real impact at the breakdown. That gives him the edge here. At number 20, we have Van Heerden against Francois Louw. This is another tough one to call. Van Heerden was a flanker who also offered line-out value, while Louw brought those ball-stealing skills and excellent work at the ruck. It's extremely close, but I'm giving Louw the edge by the smallest of margins. Things are getting very tight now. At 21, we have Pienaar against Herschel Jantjes. Pienaar was a very reliable scrum half who could also cover fly half and fullback with ease. He was sharp, elusive, and brought great versatility to the squad. Jantjes is a completely different type of scrum half, very quick around the rucks and dangerous whenever there's even a small gap. But for me, the safer pick here is Pienaar. At reserve fly half, we have Handré Pretorius against Elton Jantjes. This is another close one to call. Elton had his moments and produced some very good rugby at times, but I'm backing Pretorius here purely on his style of play. For me, he was the more well-rounded fly half. Going to the last players on the list, we have Vane and Oliver against Francois Steyn. I know Steyn already featured at centre for the 2007 side, but he was also part of the 2019 final squad as a reserve. Vainand was a solid centre who ran strong straight lines and brought plenty of energy. But Steyn's massive boot, versatility, and excellent distribution give him the nod from me once again. What a battle that was. This one could have gone either way from start to finish. In the end, the 2007 Springboks just edge it with 12 points, while the 2019 team finishes on 11 points. On paper, that shows just how close these two great sides really are. But if these teams actually faced each other in a real match, I honestly think the 2007 side might just find a way to win it, and only by the finest of margins. My predicted score would be 18-15 to the 2007 Springboks. Now I want to hear from you. Who do you think wins this clash? And what would your score prediction be? Drop it in the comments.